Mr. Chairman, the House voted to continue to fund the government, but to defund Obamacare. It now goes to the Senate. All predictions are that the Senate is going to fund Obamacare, and then we're really at a problem, correct?
One of the things, Judge, is that Obamacare is not ready for prime time. The president himself had to delay the implementation of the employer mandate, but employees and non-employees are going to be required to try to find insurance from systems that aren't set up with security capabilities that aren't proven. So there really is a reason to delay Obamacare, and that's really what defunding it for this year is all about. It's about not having it go forward before it's ready.
Right, and there's no question, though, but when the Senate takes a look at this, they're obviously going to put it back in, and it appears that, you know, given the leadership as well as the majority, we're almost at an impasse now. Is there then a government shutdown?
Well, you know what's the amazing thing is if the House offers to fund 99.9% of all the funds necessary and the president says, no, I want a full 100%, the answer has to be, but you're not supposed to be the chief appropriator. The House of Representatives has that requirement, and I think we have to take it seriously that if Obamacare is not ready, if it's not safe, if the American people are going to see both waste and confusion, we should act now to stave it off, try to find viable replacements and alternatives, or at least allow the administration to get their act together, something that the president himself admits they do not have right now.
There's no question, Mr. Chairman, the American people don't want it. It's not ready to be implemented. People are losing their jobs. I mean, now talk about the Cleveland Clinic and people losing insurance and can't choose your own doctor. How do you get past the messaging issue here that will clearly come at the Republicans by the White House, and he's got the bully pulpit, that it's the Republicans doing this when the Republicans, it appears, are doing what American people want?
We can reduce the cost of health care by not implementing prematurely Obamacare and by trying to find viable ways to deliver health care for less.
All right. Well, I'm sure that everyone is hoping that that's going to happen. But, you know, as we talk about this, it looks like to me an inevitable impasse. You've got the American people sitting there in the middle saying, hey, what about me? And, you know that Congress is at almost an all-time low. I mean, what is it? Almost 80% of Americans don't like what the Congress is doing, but the divisiveness, the bitterness. I mean, how is it that you guys are going to be able to do anything at all for us?
Well, we do a great deal, and I think one of the things people miss is, yes, there are things that are not happening. There are things that are happening, and they're happening on a bipartisan basis with a lot of us reaching across the aisle to work with members on the other side. Yes, there are some problems, and one of the problems is living within our means. Again, we're offering the president 99+% of the money he says he needs, and he's saying, I'm going to shut down the government over 1%. That's not reaching across the aisle. That's not making compromise.
I'm going to switch gears right now. I was in Washington this week watching some of the Benghazi hearings, and as you know, it's an issue that so many Americans are frustrated with. I want to show you Issa.
If this is so independent, why are you giving the State Department a heads up about a witness coming in front of this committee? Did Cheryl Mills get to see this report before it went public?
We had a draft report when it was wrapped up. We specifically briefed the Secretary of State for a couple of hours, and Ms. Mills.
All right, Congressman, look, I've been a prosecutor, I've been a judge, I've been a DA. This is unbelievable. What you've got with this Accountability Review Board is you've got no oaths, it's not transcribed. You have a scenario where Admiral Mullen admits that he called up this Cheryl Mills, Hillary Clinton's lawyer there, and said, hey, you know, this Charlene Lamb, she ain't going to make such a good witness. And then what we've got is we allowed them, or the ARB allowed Hillary and her lawyer to review the draft report. Is this report worth more than the paper it's printed on?
It's worth very little. It's not terribly independent. It's definitely not professional. The individuals involved, including Ambassador Pickering, have an inherent conflict of interest. He believes in the State Department as it is. As a matter of fact, he was intimately involved with the last big death toll, the African bombings, along with Ambassador Rice and others. So when you have an insider as chair, cozy with the secretary and all the individuals, and by the way, one thing that wasn't mentioned is every one of the note takers, these notes we don't have, they're all State Department employees. They didn't go out of house for anybody. They basically did an in-house review under an authority of a 1986 law that was supposed to hold people accountable. And as you know, every person's on the job. Nobody lost a day's pay. There's been no accountability.
My final question to you, Congressman. Look, I've spoken to Pat Smith. Her son Sean Smith was killed. Charles Woods and his son Tyrone was one of the ones on the roof. My understanding, and let me know if this is accurate, is that there was almost an empty side of the hearing, Congress people who were not there to listen to these poor parents.
Well, sadly, that's exactly right. The first panel with the ambassador and the admiral and the former director of the Secret Service was well attended on both sides. As we reset, the Democrats walked out, and except for two, they never came back. I don't think they wanted to hear Pat Smith talking about how she was lied to by the president, the vice president, the Secretary of State, and it went on with people who said it was a video when they knew it wasn't.
Chairman Issa, thank you so much for being with us.
You're most welcome.